Hi, welcome to Riders of Reels. I'm Emilio,
I'm Adam.
and we are going to be taking you through the movie review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to be talking about biggest shocks, biggest disappointments, some fun facts, and we'll dive right in right now.
Heck yeah. So first, how'd you feel walking out of the theater? Initial reactions?
I love Spider-Man, and a part of me was kind of disappointed. And I know I might be a shock for a lot of people, but I for a movie that had such a high budget, I think there was missing points to me that could have been so easily fixed, and it just kept me distracted in between. I'll dive into that later, but I want to hear what you have to say and where you were at.
Okay, I fully expected you to be like on the hype train with everybody else, and not to say this was a bad movie by any means, but I feel similar to where I wasn't like ecstatic walking out of the theater, like insanely impressed. I actually was kind of glad it was over almost. Not to say again, it's not a bad movie. If you like Spider-Man, if you like Marvel, you're gonna like this movie. If so overall, we'll see
Yeah,
what we're thinking.
absolutely. And I just want to, preface first up too. I mean, to me at least too, Spider-Man's one of those characters that's like almost untouchable. Like again, like you have Batman, you have Iron Man, these kind of superhero characters that almost always have such a good script nowadays, or almost have such a good storyline that you kind of always have fun seeing them. Um, and obviously, we're seeing it's doing well in the box office. It's at what 1.5 billion like in the first 11 days, and it's still
Yeah.
going on. It's breaking records. It's doing absolutely well. Has a great cast, interesting story plot lines to build new stuff. And speaking of, we're going to be talking about spoilers here, so just be
Oh,
ready.
yeah.
Anyone who's but I I had a lot of problems with it, and I've already talked with some people at my workplace that have been going against me. So 50-50, it's split. Some people really love it, and some people have the same scenarios that I was going to bring up in the future. And I was curious. Start with you. What was something that like did not make you took you out of it?
Okay, so there are quite a few things, and we'll maybe do a negative section, but for me, the biggest thing was just Jean Grey as the antagonist, as like the villain. I didn't really see her as a great villain in terms of what they were going for, kind of like the anti-villain thing. I didn't really feel anything for her. I didn't really care for like the arc and the story that was going on, and yeah, I mean Sadie Sink did an okay job with what she was given, but I wasn't feeling it. And you need a good villain in a superhero movie.
I totally agree. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. As soon as I saw her, I was like, I'm just seeing Stranger Things, and that's no jab to her. Like with she
Yeah,
did a great job with what she had, but I didn't see her as Jean Grey entirely in this, and I think it was so difficult for them to combine the two as characters in it. I understand that plot lines that they wanted to do. One experienced the loss and kind of had the aspects of getting through it and had different leadership throughout their movies. And it's almost like Spider-Man's trying to be that for her. Um, as and show her that
yeah,
like I know what you've been through, I've been through that, and now let me be the kind of guide. But I think it totally fell flat between that. I it was Spider-Man and Jean Grey. It wasn't a Spider-Man movie. It was just as
okay,
equally hers, and it to me it pulled me out of what I thought would have been a great Tom Holland dark story to dive into.
okay. So I agree with some of those points, but I don't. I did feel like it was a Spider-Man movie in the sense I felt connected with Tom Holland here more so than his previous three movies. Like they go through like depressed Spider-Man, which we've seen in the older Spider-Mans, and that's what kind of what we live for, like
Shout
Spider-Man
out
down
Toby.
bad. Shout out Toby. But I kind of related to the guy. Like he's down bad in his
Yeah,
apartment and depressed. He is, nobody that remembers him, and obviously I can't relate to that extent, but it just had like that feeling, maybe directly relating to someone like us, like late 20s, early 30s people, like guys in particular. And I don't know, I connected with him on that. sense, and I kind of wish they dove a little deeper into that. There's so much going on in the movie where you'd start to feel it, and then it would just cut to something completely random, random cameo, random action sequence, and it never gave me a chance to feel for Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and that was disappointing. But like I said, I like the emotional aspect they were trying to go for there.
That I can agree with. The first 20 minutes of him living out, or the first 20 30 minutes of him, you know, getting his apartment, finding that upstairs room space, going to see Aunt May and bring the flowers every day, and everything he does is alone, and you can see it. You can see his costumes a little bit more like, simplistic. Everything he's doing is a little bit more simplistic in the terms of values that he's throwing in because he doesn't have those people backing him up. And I think a lot of us have been there in our 20s. I think it's like kind of that college style movie of people who maybe are in college right now and right after, and you get out of the world and you're like, what do I do with my life? I know I've had that for sure. And I think that part was very relatable. I think it's when they stopped having that as such a huge element that it took me out of it at points. Like seeing when he's in those moments, he's depressed, and you're
Yeah.
supposed to be feeling that way, and how he's changing the anarchid stage or the arachnid stage versus his human. And I think we needed to see more of that difficulty that he was going through. It only happened that first bit when he's kind of getting a little bit angry and turns into the darker Peter Parker Spider-Man for when he's facing Scorpion, and that's the only time that part's ever brought up. I don't know if you had any qualms with that, but I feel like it was a missed point to bring in this beat of something that's supposed to be a character shift and change for him, and then they never bring it up. Like he doesn't have any problem finding
Yeah.
this
No,
arachnid and this depression.
yeah, I do like what they did with that, like kind of making him OP in the sense of like giving him the organic webs finally. But like you said, it wasn't built up very well, and it just like almost undeserving. Like,
Yeah, there's just something that I guess, and again, it's like what, $200 million production plus the marketing that they're doing. They're probably putting $400 million to prepare for this movie. And I feel like there's just those little things that to me would have made, and again, I loved Tom Holland did a great job. Like you said, I still feel for him in this one, and I did get that Spider-Man aspect with it. I just think Jean Grey took also a bit of a spotlight to it and took away some of those moments. Um, I was curious, did you notice these things? I'm gonna throw this out real quick, but continuity's sake, in the beginning with the car chase sequence, did you notice that like, the only person he saves is that kid on the scooter? Everything else, the cars that are flying into buildings and getting completely crushed, he doesn't even try slinging a web to save those people. Other movies, you're seeing him do all these small little things to like be that person, the neighborhood friendly spider, like that's your neighborhood friendly Peter, and
yeah,
he is like totally oblivious to all this the way they do it. And to me, I was just like, I mean, in Superman, I personally like that Superman movie. They show every aspect he's saving, the smallest little things here and then in a fight sequence. I think they missed that for such a lovable character. That was one thing that pulled me
okay.
out.
That's interesting because now that you bring it up, I noticed that, and it was more of a fault towards Jean Grey's character in the sense of we're supposed to like feel bad for her at the end, even though like in that sense she had to kill quite a few people in this movie,
Yeah.
and if she didn't, then I don't know what was happening during all those like insane action sequences, but I kind of feel that. I mean, obviously Peter's not Superman, so it's gonna be a little hard to like save all these people, but it sounds like they're just trying to check off boxes, save the kid, even though there's all this other stuff you're kind of forgetting about in the background.
Mhm.
Uh, it was definitely a little bit of a mess of a movie, especially considering the long run time. You think it would have been paced better, and they could have added more of these things in there with how long the run time was.
Yes, absolutely. There's another thing, and again, this isn't even on like I think Tom Holland again did fantastic. So this isn't on him. This is more the behind the scenes direction. I think also with the when he's first in the cocoon. Also, I love that aspect. When he's waking up, yeah, and he learns that he has the natural spiderweb slingers. Again, there's these great elements that they keep building up to show him, fit, like hypothetically and literally maturing. And one of the things, though, again, when you have a scene like that and he breaks from the cocoon, he falls down. I'm okay with all that stuff. Why does he not? pull the stuff that's hanging from the alleyway that where people are walking by and could look up and be like, "Oh, that's Spider-Man." I think I don't know who else would have webs like that up there. I get just little things continuity. I'm like, "Yo, this is a $200 million budget movie, and y'all
Yeah,
are like leaving things so obvious to like." If
yeah,
that's such an important thing to him, his identity, and they're not focusing on it, that's something that to me bothers.
yeah, and I guess to piggyback off that, and we'll get into some positives in a second because I have
Yes,
way
yes,
more
absolutely.
negatives to get into. But there's the Spider-Man app, like it's just like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like one,
Spider
who's
Tracker.
yeah, who's doing the spider trackers at like the Google Maps when you put the police officer on the
Yeah,
highway?
yeah.
Like even
It's
though
the
I've
Citizen
never
app.
done that, yeah, I've never done that personally. So who's like tracking Spider-Man and
I know.
I don't know. It's just such a convenience type thing, this like weird thing that makes no sense to me. And
Hmm.
like again, you said like with his identity, and it just like seems like someone would have figured it out by now, especially with like this insane app. And I don't know.
Yeah. One more thing since you just brought that up. When Jean Grey gets into like one of the people on the street and she's circling around talking with him and it's like, oh yeah, Peter Parker, like right in front of all of the city. And I'm like, is no one else hearing this? That's like walking by.
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
And no one
oh, this
sees
sounds pretty.
Spider-Man in the middle of the
Yeah. I'm
sidewalk,
just
just
like,
like
okay,
having a
there's
conversation, holding this guy up to the.
yeah.
It's just like, I don't
Oh
know.
man. Um, but okay, so I think maybe we should bring some positives into this,
Yeah, yeah,
light, because again, it wasn't a bad movie. I just expected more from a very highly rated, beloved character.
yeah.
Um, Positive take. Let me hear. What do you got?
Okay. There, well, I'm looking at my notes. There's not a lot, but unfortunately, but I did like Zendaya. Usually, I'm kind
Hmm.
of not a Zendaya hater necessarily, but her acting sometimes doesn't hit for me. In this movie, I think it was decent. Like just the
Yeah.
way she was portraying like this person that maybe has these forgotten feelings for this guy, but also have no idea who this guy is, and I could really like buy what she was going for, and just I don't know, I like her MJ in like the Spider-Man universe, like probably one of the better MJs out of the three trilogies, so probably the best MJ in my opinion. So
Yeah.
Zendaya is a bright spot.
I can see that, and I do agree. I do. I'm forgetting her name. You might know from the first Spider-Man. It's right there. That who played MJ. But that actress, I think she was a pretty good act. I liked enjoyed
Was it
her
Emma
MJ
Stone?
character. No, was Emma Stone was
Oh, Andrews.
she yeah, but she was Gwen. She was Gwen Stacy.
Oh yeah.
Um, and she was fantastic too. So I think obviously like I think since that's the only Gwen Stacy really we've seen
Yeah.
live action, I
Yeah.
think Emma Stone's the best Gwen Stacy. But I agree. Even though I like the MJ from Tobey Maguire's, Zendaya, this was the one that brought her to another level. She was involved in the other movies a good amount too, but this one showed her development as a character
Yeah.
and as an actress. Um,
Yeah.
I will say one scene that I actually really did think was pretty impactful and powerful that got me, like it made me angry, did what it wanted to do, was when they're on the rooftop and and they kiss each other and I part of me was thinking like, oh yeah, what if this is the person transferring into bodies? What if this is Jean Grey? And then literally that's what happens. And I'm like, oh, I hate this. I hate this so much. Like that is so cruel to be doing that. And that was something that like, yes, that was great use of character devices of what these two can do. Great job in both of their performances because we know we want to see these two characters get back together and have those emotions and memories again. So that was again, I will say positive for that. For me, two thumbs up.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna segue to that scene because Zendaya was a part of it, and her acting in that scene to like be Jean Grey in her own body, like I bought it. But yeah, that scene got me. I didn't even think of Jean for some reason, so I was just like, dang, bro, that's just
Yes.
bogus. Like I actually felt
God.
bad for
Yeah.
Peter there. I'm just like, all right, if she did that, like basically it made me hate Jean Grey, like really hate her. Even like that's like worse than the murdering she's done in my like been doing in my head.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It pulls every string that you want to just be like, ooh, if I was Peter, and I'm glad because Tom Holland's a much better much nicer guy than I would have been in that moment, even though it would have been tough to hold
Yeah.
on to.
And on
Um,
top of that, she flings her off the edge. Like,
yeah, like,
what if
oh,
Spider-Man doesn't catch
uh,
her? She just
yeah,
splatters on the ground.
no, I know. If you've seen Amazing Spider-Man 2, you know this. It's when Gwen Stacy, falls to her death and Spider-Man can't save her. And then I was like replaying that in my head, and I'm like, I swear, if they do
Yeah.
this to me, I am walking out of that theater. Thankfully, they did not. But
But yeah, good scene.
yes,
Um, how did you feel about some, I call them most of them cameos from, there's the Punisher, the Hulk. There's like a bunch of villains they throw in there, which is what it is. But how'd you feel? Do you
yes.
feel like any of them or all of them were necessary, unnecessary?
I think again, I've kind of gotten sick of the cameos in Marvel. I think they're overdoing them. They've had for too long. The 20 plus movies and the shows, where I think they need to be smart of how they do them. And I think the movie would have stronger suited if it was just one. And I think the Punisher would have been the better follow through since he was already in it for a longer time. Since we already know there's backstory between the two comics or whatever you've seen before. And I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, personally, when I saw the Hulk. I liked the fight sequence. I think that was the coolest version we've seen of Hulk. Which total credit. And I know they went what Savage Hulk, I think is who it was. But I think it was just a plot device. Like to me as a screenwriter, it was just throwing in a thing like, oh, this will be cool to have a cool action sequence. But like, does it really make sense? I mean, before we've seen Smart Hulk get control of himself and be fully like not like I feel like there's a stronger sense to Bruce Banner where he doesn't need this device. We've seen him be able to
Yeah.
control himself. So it felt like that was just as a movie, we can just throw that in there just to get him there, which I think they could have been a little smarter about going about that route and how he was changed.
Okay. Yeah, I feel
What do
you
you?
on all that. The Punisher, I did like. I felt like
Mhm.
their relationship and their dynamic was decent in the movie. It added like a good comedic element. They had really good chemistry on screen. So that was like some of my favorite parts, even though I do think the Punisher didn't move the plot very much. Like it wasn't needed that much. He's just like a dude with a
Mhm.
gun. So it's like, what is he really helping
With a gun
Spider-Man with?
and a tongue.
Yeah, and they nerfed him. Like if you're a Punisher fan, he doesn't sound like he did in the original show for obvious reasons, can't be rated R.
Yes,
But so that was a little disappointing, weird, because I like the Punisher. The
I
Hulk,
agree.
I love the Hulk. So it was definitely unnecessary, but I'm not mad at seeing the Hulk. He wasn't like overdone in the movie where he like stole any spotlight. It was just like a quick thing. Also unnecessary, and the inhibitor thing was kind of goofy, and it just to set up the thing that he puts on his neck to suppress powers, which will probably lead into like an X-Men movie because the old X-Men movies they had something like that to suppress mutants, and it's
Yes,
cool, but again, just for the sake of getting people in the seats, which they would have already. So I don't think it was like needed for any shock value. But again, I'm not mad at seeing Hulk on screen, hulking out finally.
yes, and that's what I think Hulk deserves his own movie. I know it's a different topic entirely on its own. How many people keep bringing up how much they enjoy Hulk seeing on screen? Give him his
Yeah,
own thing. I was like, at this point, because I would rather see a whole full fledged movie of him getting into this element. Um, and I can agree with you. I enjoyed seeing him. I think it was a little bit of a cop out, but I can fly past that because of how enjoyable that sequence was. Now, as for you, I was wondering what you thought of, and then I know we gotta get to the ending too soon of it. Just one more thing in the beginning. When you first met Metzger, the Department of like Security, and and they reveal the vault like the first minute he's there. To me, I don't know if you, I felt like that was such an obvious thing and took me away immediately from the story because I like movies now to be puzzle pieces where I'm a smart viewer. I want to see how certain things are. As soon as I saw the vault and they brought up I forgot what the thing was that Jean Grey was trying to look for. It was like the Gens or something.
VMAX.
VMAX. And they're like, I don't know anything VMAX. And then they show the vault like right after he says it. And when you see Metzger, you kind of get that sense like he seems a little bit too like nice of a guy to be
Yeah,
a nice guy. Like
he's a
I immediately saw he
scumbag.
was a villain. I
Yeah,
immediately knew that vault was going to beat VMAX. That's where VMAX is at, whatever it is. Like some things just came too easily, and I was like, again, I expected a little
Yeah,
bit more from such a high production.
I feel you there, but at the same time, I feel like these superhero movies are kind of what you get. Like you kind of know
That's
what
true.
you're walking into, even though it's a high budget. It's a Spider-Man movie, which there are some superhero movies that have a lot of like depth to them. Like
Hmm.
seems like mainly just Batman movies for some reason, but that are
Yeah,
like cinematic masterpieces per se. Like, but any other superhero movie, you're kind of just walking in, I guess, for the
following the
action.
same trend.
But it is disappointing. Like this, I don't know what we were expecting or what I was expecting, but I'm watching
Yes.
like all these great movies lately, and more than likely a Spider-Man movie wasn't gonna live up to like cinematic masterpieces.
Yeah.
So maybe we're being hard on it, but at the same time, it was just very predictable and, like you said, disappointing in the sense of how much was put into it, and it just still felt like a gimmicky Marvel movie.
Yes. Oh, what did you feel though about? I heard there was a lot of real practical effects and a lot of real stunt actions and stuff going on. Did you notice any of that, or did you? Because there is obviously CGI,
Yeah.
but not as much as other Marvel movies. Did you feel like you got any of that sense? I feel like I noticed a good amount of it, and felt like when it was really cleverly used and done well.
I don't even know. There's to me there's so much CGI used and very good CGI for that matter that it's kind of hard for me to recognize as someone who doesn't have like experience with that stuff. But maybe if like you brought some stuff up or I looked it up and rewatched the movie, I'd be able to identify it. But overall, like sequences, like in general, action sequences, whatever, they're all done very well. It's what Marvel's known for, so.
Yeah, kind of like, well, when they were doing the tank sequence, I know that is like that was done
Oh,
live with him on a
yeah.
actual wire. So
Oh,
Spider-Man was like slinging back and forth during the tank sequence on, I think they filmed it in, was it London? I think it was somewhere in Europe that they filmed
that's
instead of New
funny.
York.
Yeah.
And then I think the prison sequence was also live action and all the action there. So I think when like some of the hand is like running up against the prison cell walls, they were on wires as well. I believe doing some of that stuff too. And their action
That's cool.
sequences were, I think they were done by Jackie Chan's group.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so those are moments like I really want to appreciate because I think it's
Yeah.
such, these stunt doubles and these action sequences, the people behind them, from the coordinators to the doubles, they don't get enough love and attention. I think they did a
Yeah.
fantastic job with them.
Okay, yeah. Shout out to those people. 'Cause yeah, to be fair, it was good like choreography. Some of the fighting sequences, I could kind of feel it.
Mhm.
It kind of were the best parts. A lot of people have been comparing it to the Insomniac Spider-Man games on
Yes.
PlayStation. Like it kind of had that feel, and I did like it more like arcadey feel, almost more fun feel for Tom Holland. I don't know how much of he did that versus like a stunt double. Probably was a stunt double, but
Hmm.
overall, good stuff.
Is it? Do you know too, or have you heard about how this was partially considered Man Spider, him transforming into the way?
No,
There's like a
man.
comic where he, I guess, like actually turns into a spider,
Oh,
like kind of thing. I thought it was going to go that route. I was kind of hoping it would get like where he's
yeah,
almost really starting to lose his own personality. And that was something I was, again, a little bit disappointed. Fine that they didn't do it, but
yeah,
I think it would have played into how they did Spider-Man 3 with Tobey
yeah,
Maguire, but a better version. I wanted to
yeah,
see him again, like I said before, get into those darker moments so that when he pulls out of it, I feel like it's earned. I feel like it's well, like I'm rooting for him because he's back to being the good Peter Parker and Spider-Man we know. That was something I think could have been an elevated section.
yeah,
Whether I don't know if he had to grow extra legs, or,
yeah.
didn't have to go to
That
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 extent.
yeah,
But I
that would have
like
been
the
cool.
blackened eyes. Yeah, just some stuff like I think they could have played into it. Maybe they
Yeah,
will in the
that would have
future.
thrown me off
Who
for
knows?
sure if I saw him like get like furry or something. The eyes were
Yeah.
kind of freaky. I like that, but I see what you're saying. Like there was no payoff, and I just still saw sweet Tom Holland. Like
Yes.
yeah,
Well, and like I think to me, if maybe you've seen the Thunderbolts, I thought that movie was kind of mid personally to me. Again, wasn't a bad movie.
yeah,
I To me though, I felt like it was the ending to this movie was trying to be the same thing to that. Um,
yeah,
it's not a bad thematic thing that they're trying to blend like friendship will overcome depression and stuff, and I like that, but I do think they went too on the nose with it. I
yeah,
mean, we just last week we talked about the Boy and the Heron. where that's a movie all about loss and how do you accept that. But it's so originally done that it's not force fed in your face that like this best friend's going to save you through it all. And I think they went too far, too easy of that route. Where maybe it's just for me, my superhero fatigue. I want a little bit something more unique or original to how they're going to get through that. I didn't like the Aunt May scene with what's her name, Jean
Aunt
Grey, sitting
May.
with her. I love Aunt May, but I just don't think when she was talking with Jean Grey and it was supposed to be her and that, I'm like, I don't feel anything because they've never had an
Yeah.
actual talk. I get what it's trying to do, it just didn't hit me.
Dude, that ending was just terrible. Like I'm just like I just made no sense to me. And they like replayed that scene with Aunt May like 17 times. It felt like
Yeah,
it's like all right, like it ain't that inspiring. Like and it's like yeah, Jean Grey in that situation, like you don't deserve Aunt May's praise. Like you were just killing and
yeah,
murdering people. Like Peter at the end
exactly.
was
I
like,
agree.
Jean, you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't kill anyone. Peter, she
She
already like
could,
murdered probably dozens of people already. It's
yeah,
like she doesn't deserve any
exactly.
like happy ending. I don't like Jean Grey and
I agree.
yeah.
There's just a couple things that like I think when it was being done, this film, I don't think they had everyone in the room talking about like, does this feel like it makes sense for someone who just killed someone like this that they get? And I'm all for again the you know forgiving and all that aspect, but this was a moment Tom Holland needed to be the lead guardian mentor, and they instead gave that a little bit to Aunt May,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Like, and of course, I don't know if you noticed in that scene, there's a lunchbox on the ground that says like it was Tony's thing, like you deserve this suit from when like the first movie.
Yeah.
So it was like another shout out to Tony there, and I'm like, why are you showing us this if like that's what Peter should be doing right now more so. I wish he
Yeah.
had that talk one on one with her to at least that would have gotten me more
I
to
feel
helping
that. But
build
Peter
that
didn't
connection.
develop that enough during the movie to even
Yes,
earn giving her that conversation and that's where it fell flat too.
because it was two different movies in one. That's sort of yeah. It Peter's identity, or was it her identity? And I think them
Yeah.
trying to make both of them in there, they didn't have enough time
Yeah.
for a new
Okay.
character you're introducing in the new world.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Spider
A
Man, it makes sense.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
Jean Grey movie. What you said at the beginning, that makes more sense now.
yeah.
And that ending, a lot of people were like emotionally torn or like felt like when she looks up, sees the VMAX. I didn't feel a single thing. I didn't feel bad for this girl. I didn't feel bad for her dead sister. They give like this or flashback that lasts like a decent amount of time, but still didn't make me feel
Mhm.
anything for that sister relationship. So I think they just missed the mark on that too.
Yes, I agree, and I think they could have fixed it two ways. They could have either, and obviously, got want to be smart. They don't want to make this too cruel of a movie, but either one, I think I would have felt more emotions if we saw some flashbacks of the sister in that situation and seeing her like over however was it years, was it months she was there, and
Yeah,
seeing the torment of her, like how she's looking, is she not feeling so good with this? I would have felt like I would have been wrenched. Is she mumbling because she can't even speak? Those are situations that kind of break you down as
yeah,
a person because you don't want to see ever someone who is especially like a teenager
yeah,
getting abused
yeah,
into some sort of way.
yeah,
Or if they didn't want to go there, because that's dark. If they didn't want to go, they can really talk about it. And I think Metzger had to be almost kind of cruel as a person. I think he had to be explaining more of like he was just kind of like, you don't want to help her like sacrifice. Like I think he needed to be like, yeah, she like her screams were kind of annoying to hear. I don't know, just keep building into this thing
yeah,
so you like feel like, oh, you're a horrible person for doing something so cruel to this child.
yeah.
Because when they reveal that, I'm like, yeah, it sucks to see, but they didn't hit those extra levels that would have made me feel that. They didn't give me the minute to really reflect on who this character was and what they went through.
I feel that. Can I just add in just a few more random things
Yes,
that I don't know if you caught,
do it.
but what bothered me, ad placement in this movie, we had the Samsung phone that Peter's using like 19 times, just close-ups, and it's like, all right, we get it, buy the new
Like,
Samsung flip
yeah,
phone. That bothered me. There's Little Caesars. he got like
Oh
Little
my gosh,
Caesars
yeah.
delivered to him, showed him getting the pizza and everything. It's like not
Yeah.
necessary to the plot at all. And there's a bunch of BMW, and I think there's other stuff, but holy moly, like Sony just let
Yeah.
everyone put in their ad placements, and it
Yes.
took me out of the film a bit every time I saw like these obvious things.
I agree. Yeah, those are some good ones. I don't think I noticed or I didn't really let this Little Caesars one hit, but now I remember that sequence, that scene
Yeah,
especially.
it's like
So
Peter's
no, you're
Spider-Man. He could swing to any good
yes.
pizza place in the city. Like, go get some high
Oh,
quality pizza,
I
pal.
agree. Well, one last thing too, just quick, man. I won't dive into this too much either, but I felt like there was also I wanted more of Ned and still MJ in it. They were such pivotal characters that I think they needed still more screen time. I wanted that at least, just to
Yeah,
have the three of them,
yeah,
even if
for
it was
sure. I like their relationships, their trio.
such a great trio.
I get they're trying to build back to that, and I'm glad they didn't just erase Far From Home's ending and True Love's
Hmm.
for kiss like broke MJ's, or I know at the end they have like their little
Their
thing,
handshake,
whatever. It wasn't meant
yes,
to him to remember, but remember something else, so people might have got confused by that. So it didn't wipe Ned's memory back, but I
yes.
agree. Like I do like that dynamic.
Well, and since you brought that up, my wife had a theory, and I wanted to touch it by you real quick. You know when Jean Grey has that huge power surge where her 33 feet of like extension can stretch now like a mile,
Yeah.
and it froze everyone in there? She was thinking like, was that obviously it froze people and it was doing something to them? Was that also doing something to their minds? Because if you see immediately when it cuts to MJ, she's got a tear going down her face. The
Yeah.
next time you see Ned and Peter interact, he just somehow randomly remembers how to do the handshake. So my wife was thinking, and I don't know much about Jean Grey's, past in the comics and what her powers really consist
Yeah.
of, only little bits, but is she able to did her power somehow bring back something in their memories that they forgot? And it was slowly, like just a little tiny window open. Was MJ crying because she was remembering something about Peter or something
Oh.
about Spider-Man? And was Ned, when he did that, was that a little tiny sublet hitting
Yeah.
him?
Oh, maybe. So maybe the next Spider-Man, they just right away remembers because they kind of got to get back to that already.
To
Just
the main.
the
It
core
could be.
group of friends is a good thing. Overall, what is your rating out of 10?
Um, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 because I still appreciate Tom Holland. I love the director still, Daniel. I think Daniel Cretton. I loved Shang-Chi. I think there's a lot of good elements to this, just a lot of missed moments that to me would have brought it up a lot more. But a solid 7.
Okay, fair enough. Number that popped in my head, 7.9. So not as hard on it as you, but still like a good movie, okay movie, worth seeing if you're a Marvel fan.
Yeah,
So
it made me still emotional at times.
yeah, which is a good thing. But on that note, we will wrap things up today. That will conclude today's episode of Riders of Reels podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment down below your favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. We'd love to hear. And until next time, I'm Adam,
I'm Emilio.
and thanks for joining us for the ride.